before we start, does anyone want to use the bathroom? Okay. Well, welcome everybody this morning to Bruthen. It's fantastic to get a good crowd here along with the inclement weather and everything. I'm Past District Governor Neil Wingrave, so it's my great pleasure to welcome you here today. And to start with, I just want to acknowledge the lands of First Nation, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and elders, past and present. This has been a really good project in the making, and we've got a story to tell around it, and we've got a number of people here today who are going to share that story with you and to help to fill in any of the gaps along the way that you might have. So if you want to ask questions as well. The first one we're going to hear from is Past District Governor Steve Boyce.
Thanks, PDG Neil. This, where we are, of course, got heavily impacted from here right through East Gippsland and the Black Summer bushfires. At the time, Past District Governor Neil was the District Governor for 201V3, the district that we are currently standing in. He asked me to take control of the Lions response within the area, and that was a great privilege to help these people through what was a pretty hard time in their journey. One thing that became very apparent very quickly was the support that we had throughout the Lions network, not only from our members and our clubs, but also our foundations. Firstly, there was the Australian Lions Foundation, who come on board very quickly to help deliver need where it was required. But then come in Lions Clubs International Foundation. They put in a significant amount of money to help not only continue that work of helping with vouchers to the affected landholders, but also to help with water tanks. There was a big need that we heard when we went around, that people hadn't lost homes, but they lost all their water tanks. There's a great advent of people using plastic water tanks, and they were literally just melting, and there was nothing left. So, of course, you cannot live if you don't have water. So the humanitarian need was very much there, and so we used LCIF. And LCIF were absolutely fantastic to be partnered with, and they were absolutely there to assist where there was the need. It was very much, we saw a need and we were there to deliver. We then moved to the second stage of LCIF, what we call LCIF Stage 2. And to speak through that, I'd like to introduce Past District Governor Gordon Matthews.
Thank you, Steve. I was involved from the beginning of the fires, right from December 2019, and we always knew this was going to be a big task, so the task is still going. Here we are 3 years on. I was heavily involved with the Stage 2 of the recovery project, which has been one of the largest undertaken by any Australian Lions. It's 9 projects across 7 LGAs, 2 states and 2 Lions districts. And I can tell you it's been a hell of a job, but it's been made a lot easier because of LCIF. Because of the people over in LCIF have worked with our coordinators, being Jeff Hobart and Kim Forrest, both doing the administration, doing all the grant applications and so forth, and they made the process extremely easy. So here we are today, some $670,000 US, I believe, is about the figure in somewhere. The overall total completion figure will be somewhere in the vicinity of about 1.4, I think. Is that right, Jeff? Something like that. Somewhere around that. And that's been largely funded by the Australian Lions Foundation, who works in conjunction with the LCIF. But this is Stage 1. This is the first project that's been completed. And I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to tell you that the last 3 years has taken its toll on some of us. You know, when you talk to your affected residents consistently. Believe me, it takes a toll when you go out there and we know that we've still got a lot of work to do. We know that we have another 2 or 3 years of work left to be done, but it's made easier by the fact that the Australian Lions Foundation, the Lions Club International Foundation are supporting it. If we didn't have that support, we could not finish some of these projects. So, without any further ado, I'm going to ask Councillor John White to come up.
Well, thank you very much. It is a great pleasure to be here, but I would like to take you back even further than the bushfires with your organisation, in that we were suffering one of the worst droughts recorded here in most people's living memory. And the Lions Club, along with other organisations, came forward and were asking people who were in a better position to donate fodder and other items for the drought-affected people. And that was a wonderful gesture, and the number of trucks that would turn up with fodder for these people who just had nothing left. And you mentioned the poly tanks. Well, I'd just say these people actually had nothing left in their own tanks in terms of, surviving and going forward. And then along comes the bushfire, which just was so devastating, and I still actually get quite emotional about this, because being there with all these people who not only had loss of life, but we had loss of livestock, loss of people's homes, infrastructure, fences. It was just one of the most terrible things I think I've ever had. Apart from one thing which Margot knows about with my personal life, but other than that, the one of the most traumatic times of my life to just see people who were just so shell shocked, so devastated, and had suffered such loss. And but come forward, good people, Lions clubs, other service organisations, and even before all this happened, I was actually living out in the Lindenau area. The Lindenau Lions is also another wonderful part of your organisation, and although I've never been a member, I've always been a strong supporter of anything that they would do out in our area. The money they've raised, particularly with the field days, and then reinvested into the community has been amazing, and it's still ongoing. As you would know, probably in all of your branches, as with Lindenau, they're struggling now to get newer members. That club's been going since the mid-1970s, and the founding members are still the members of that Lions Club, and they're just crying out for younger people to come forward. Hopefully they do. There are more and more people moving out into the I'll call them the provinces, and the Bruthens and the Buckens, towns like that where people want to go and live. And this in the 50 years that I've lived in East Gippsland, Bruthen has changed so much, and people really, really want to be here. There's some lovely homes. It's certainly grown, and just the main street up here with the shops there, they survive because they're at the junction of two thoroughfares. You can come down from the coast, come through here, or you can come from the mountains and you come through here. A little bit like Can River. It's a junction of two main roads, and the only way to get where you want to go is to go through Can River or go through Bruthen. And there's some wonderful things happening here, but it's still good to see green grass. As I said, this all started with a drought, and I never complain about getting wet. I certainly complain about getting dust in my eyes, but I don't mind a bit of rain, so that's always a positive. Now, the structure behind me here, I think that's another tribute to you and your organisation and the hard work that you do. It is amazing. My life is very busy, but if I could turn the clock back, I would have loved to have been part of one of these organisations, because you know, the work you do, it's selfless. The money you raise, it's extraordinary. And what you do with that money to help others who have had misfortune, I think is absolutely just amazing. I really do enjoy being involved, but not involved, but being part of what you produce for the benefit of others. And we look, I hope, because we are a retirement area for a lot of people who are moving out of the city, that more and more people join your organisation, because just because you're retired, it doesn't mean you've passed your use by date. You have many years of wonderful things that you can do. And you know, I've been to many of the dinners and see the what's the word, camaraderie sorry, of you as you gather and you know, talk about things that you've done, talk about things that you propose to do in the future. And as this is another item that, you know, and that probably I didn't hear the cost, but it will be at great expense, because when I got on council, I could not believe how much it cost to build a toilet. So, and they tell me that you've also got to grass the area. Well, I can't see any problem here at the moment. It looks like it's already growing. So you might be able to save that money for someone else for a tank. But look, it's I understand that there's somebody here from Lions International. Is this correct? And was going to come forward. Oh, welcome to Australia.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to have you here in our little part of the world. And I hope you really do enjoy your stay.
Thank you.
But look, I'll hand over for you to say a few words. But again, congratulations to all of you Lions members, and for the work that you have done in the past. And I'm sure you have a bucket list going forward. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So my name's Cheryl Marshall, and I'm from Lions Club International Foundation, located near Chicago. It's a town called Oak Brook, Illinois. And the role of Lions Club International Foundation is to support all of the Lions clubs around the world. And it was founded in 1968, and there's been over $1 billion donated to different causes and projects around the world. One thing that people think of when they think of the foundation is responding to disasters and emergencies, which is certainly a big part, and that I'm really happy that Australia has been able to benefit from those resources that we can provide. And we work in cooperation with the Australian Lions Foundation that works then in cooperation with the local Lions clubs. The big message of the Lions is that we work together to empower service. So the more people, the more you can connect to the bigger side of the organization, the more resources you have. So when you have your local clubs in Australia can reach out to the Australian Lions Foundation, and then also reach out to the Lions Club International Foundation, which is really how we want things to work, so that we can empower bigger service projects and give more resources for that. And it's important to know that the donations that are given to the Lions Club International Foundation do stay right here in Australia in a special Australian bank account, and are specifically available to come back to use right here in Australia. So it's very important to remember that, and to know that 100% of the donations that are made to the Lions Club International Foundation, 100% of those donations do stay here to go towards the projects. There's no administrative costs that are taken out of those donations. We really want to encourage people to continue to join the Lions. It's never too late, never too late. And of course, we want Lions of all ages from young people. I mean, we talk about young people. There are the youth programs called the Leos that can work in conjunction with the other Lions clubs. I don't know if there's a minimum age to join a Leos club, but I know people who are, teenagers are really welcome to join. And the beauty of the Lions Clubs are that they're ground roots or grassroots, like they're in the location, and then the Lions Clubs, they decide what they need to do. It's not the foundation. We don't decide what people need to do. It's the people on the ground in their country and their communities that decide what's the need that we have right here. And they come up with the project ideas and then choose the budget and then start figuring out how can they get this financial assistance to complete the projects that their own community needs. And that's where the foundations step in, the Australian Lions Foundation, who could then expand to the International Foundation, and that's what we're here for. Excuse me. So we really do want to encourage lions of all ages. Kids who are, 14, 15, 16, 17, you're going to see needs in your community that are going to be specific that are to help you in your age. People of other ages moving in are going to see other needs for the community, and it's really important. The whole message of the Lions is to work together. So no matter what your age, you do have something to contribute to your community and a vision to see maybe what's lacking, what can be made better. And we want your voices. We want you to contribute your voice to that conversation so that we can really improve, where you're living and, improve the world, improve, everyone's conditions so that their daily lives are better. So we're really happy that our funds could be used here despite the disastrous results. And, I can definitely empathize with the pain and the loss that was felt here. And it was devastating to see. It's devastating even to be here and meeting the people who have been through it. And I can't imagine how difficult that was. And so I'm grateful that we are able to provide support so that you can rebuild and move on. And I think that, sometimes those crises are terrible experiences, but then there are also opportunities for people to come together and support each other and really realize that there's a lot of strength in the community. So I just want to encourage everyone to keep moving forward, and don't forget that there's a lot of resources to you through the Australian Lions Foundation and through the Lions Club International Foundation. And I want to really encourage you to use those resources. They're there for you. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. Oh, and I should have added, I'm a global grants specialist. I forgot that. So my name's Cheryl Marshall. I'm a global grants specialist for the Lions Club International Foundation. So I work with the grant requests that come in and help present them. I don't actually approve them, but I help present them and shape them and guide in the application process of what the project is. And I help frame them, and then I present them to the International Foundation's Board of Trustees, who then gives the final approval. So I'm happy to work with anybody who has a grant request and help them, build that and make sure it's a solid project, and then frame it and present it to the board. All right, thank you.
So thank you, Cheryl. So I'd ask Councillor White and Cheryl to please come around behind the ribbon, and we'll do a cutting of a ribbon. So if you could both please cut the ribbon to declare the first project of LCIF Stage 2 open. Thank you both.